Hi there, good evening in Europe at least, and welcome today to our Yin Yoga session, our short Yin Yoga session on getting back on track. So I will just tell you the cat is here with us today in her little hammock, just as a treat for you to see beautiful pussycat. So just quickly to explain what we're going to be doing today. Sorry, I'm just sorting my timer here. Very organised today. So getting back on track with Yin Yoga. What we're going to be doing today is a short session on trying to help regain our confidence and our trust in ourselves if we have lost it, to a degree at least. So the idea is twofold, and you can pick and choose what you like from this. First of all, in a physical sense, we could say that perhaps these feelings that we're having of a loss in confidence and trust within ourselves might come from feeling pressured, from feeling stressed. So we will be working today on the back line of the body, particularly the back, where we can release the tension that is there, creating space between the vertebrae, stressing the tissues of the back, and also stimulating the nerves, the many nerves that we have in the back. So the idea in that way, in perhaps more of a, you could say perhaps more of a Western sense, is just to release that tension that we might be feeling in the back from stress, perhaps. In an energetic sense, the idea of working the back of the body, including the backs of the legs, is that you can find what is called the urinary bladder meridian in this area, running down the back and running down the backs of the legs. So in an energetic sense, in a Chinese energetic sense, it's said that an imbalance in the flow of energy, so not running smoothly, easily, the energy running smoothly and easily through this channel, through this meridian, can potentially cause a lack of confidence, a lack of trust, existential trust actually, and also maybe if you have problems making decisions, this could be an imbalance in the energy within this meridian. So this is another reason that we're focusing on the back today. So let's begin. So if you just want to start in butterfly. So we're just going to sit with the soles of the feet together, and we're going to fold forward. So as the focus here is on the back, I want you to get into a position where you are feeling the stretch in the back, most of all for your body. So that may mean that you want to push the feet further away. That may enable you to fold forward more. It may be that you separate the feet. That may work better for you as well. Or it may be a combination of those, but also sitting up on something, anything at all, just raising the hips up. This can also help in more of a fold forward. Now, it's not that you need to be folding very far forward, that's irrelevant. As long as you're feeling a stretch in the back, that's all that we want. So just play with those different positions, moving the feet further away or perhaps closer to you, separating the feet, and perhaps sitting up on something. 1, 2, or 3 options there. If you're feeling this in the knees at all, even by playing with the legs as we just did, then another option for you is to put something underneath the knees, blocks, cushions, whatever, or perhaps under a different part of the leg. When you found your position, then we're going to stay in this one for around 3 minutes. So we want to stretch the whole of the spine, the lower, the middle, the upper, and the cervical, the neck, as long as that's okay with the neck. So you can just allow the head to drop. Maybe move the head from side to side just to relax the neck. Perhaps taking a deep breath in through the nose. And then as you breathe out, either through the nose or through the mouth, just allow yourself to drop deeper into the pose without pushing. And if you like, you can continue to use that breath, slowing down the breath, using it to help you passively move into the pose, perhaps getting deeper in, perhaps becoming more relaxed in it, without pushing, noticing that stretch on the back, on the neck. Hi there, Linda. And hi everybody else too. And if you find that your attention wanders, which it's bound to, then just bring it back to the back. And notice perhaps where you're feeling the stretch the strongest here. Is it more the lower? Is it more the middle, the top, the neck? And perhaps you might want to experiment a little bit, but with really small micro movements. Moving a little bit to the left, tiny movements. Noticing how the stretch changes, moves to a different part of the body. And then to the right. Again, tiny movements. Noticing how the stress in the back moves to a different part of the back. Keeping that breath slow and long if that's helpful for you. And then we're going to come up to the center. So slowly coming back up, bringing the body back up, bringing the knees in, feet on the floor, knees bent, or you can straighten them out if you want to, your choice. And we're going to go straight into the next pose without a rebound because we're still continuing to stretch the back, and in fact throughout the whole session we're going to be stretching the back. So just put your legs out straight in front of you. We're going to move into caterpillar. So again, the same options I want you to remember to try and get as much stretch as you can in the back. So for example, fold forward just with the legs out straight in front of you. And just see how that feels. Now we're aiming for a stretch on the back of the legs as well here, by the way. You can also try separating the legs, that's another option. You can try rotating the legs. Toes going in, toes going out. See how that feels. Remember, we want to stretch on the back and a stretch on the backs of the legs. Not too much, not too little, but enough we can stay in for around 3 minutes or so. At 3.5 now, if you're already in the pose. Again, another option, if you want to fold forward a bit more, if you feel like you're falling backwards, is to sit up on something. Maybe on the front of that support might be better. So for me, for example, if I sit right on the front of the block, that gives me a better stretch in the backs of my legs and in my back. That may not be the case for you. It is the case for me. Hiya, puss. So then when you've found your position, you can fold forward. And we will be here for just under 3 minutes now. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to your back and ask yourself, this time compared to butterfly, is it in the same place? Am I feeling the stretch in the same place? Do I have as much rounding or less rounding in the back than the last pose? It's bound to be different because you've got the legs in a different position. And I want you to notice today in particular how the position of the legs affects how much you can fold forward. And that shows how, contrary to popular belief, getting into particular shapes is not necessarily about how, inverted commas, inflexible you are, that it is also related to your skeleton, your structure. So notice that in the poses that we do today. Notice how the position of the legs also affects how much you, and to what point, and what shape your back is in. You'll be surprised. So we're going to be here for another minute or so. If you find that it's got too much, it's too intense at any point, just back off, just come up a bit. And also if you find there's too much stretch maybe in the backs of the knees, you can always bend the knees a little bit as well. Perhaps place a rolled up blanket underneath if that's helpful. Or if you feel just for this last part you'd like a little bit more stretch, then we can bring a little bit of yang in, a little bit of active, and you can just take hold of the legs somewhere or the feet. Not too much, just a little bit of activity using the arms, a little bit of muscle, tiny bit, just to give ourselves a little bit more stretch in the back and or legs. So for me, for example, I'm just going to hold on to the feet. That's giving me a bit more stretch in the back and in the backs of the legs. So we're trying to keep the target area, the back and the backs of the legs in this particular pose, passive, yin, but maybe we can make something else a little bit more active, a little bit more yang, another area, in order to achieve that. So I'm activating the muscles here of the arms, the shoulders, a little bit, but I'm not activating the back or the legs. I'm keeping those passive. Okay, so if you're holding on to anything, let go. and then we will just have a quick, about a minute of a rebound before we move on to the next pose. So just lie down on your back. And I want you to notice the effect. How does it feel in the back and in the legs? And then just as a really short counter pose, although we are going to continue on the back, but just to give it a little bit of a break, push into the floor, activate the legs, and then just slowly, slowly, slowly push up the hips, keep pushing into the floor, and don't bring the hips up too high, just bring them up so the back is fairly neutral, maybe a bit of extension in the back. Keep pushing into the floor, activating the legs, and then come back down again, vertebrae by vertebrae. And then do that again. Push into the floor, push up, push the hips up. You can go a little bit higher if you want here this time, a bit more extension in the back. And then coming back down again, slowly, slowly, with the hips coming down last. And then again, one more time, pushing into the ground, pushing up. Bringing the hips up. You can move the hips a bit from side to side if you want, like I am. If you want to, you don't have to. And then coming down again, relaxing the legs. And then make your way back up to a seated position. So for example, you can roll onto your side and push up that way if you want to, but I'm not prescribing it. Doesn't matter. As long as you come back up to the center, that's fine. So we're going to move the hips into a different position and fold forward. So again, I want you to notice how your back acts with this. So we're going to move into square position. So I want you just to, as you can see here, bring your left foot, bend your left knee and bring your left foot inside your legs, I suppose. And then the right foot is going to go in front. The right shin is going to go in front. Now you won't necessarily look like this at all. I've got quite long lower leg bones. Some people may have their knees much closer. Some people may have them further away. But basically what we want is something like cross-legged, but without the ankles actually crossing over. That's basically the general shape that we want. And then we're going to fold forward. So this is square position. Okay. So be careful of the knees. If you feel anything in the knees or the groin area, or the back actually as well, play with the position of the legs. So as I said, you can move the knees a bit closer to each other. You can move them further away from each other. You're also welcome, if you want to actually cross the legs. That's fine as well. And in fact, you might find that that is better for you in the back. So you choose which one you want. And of course, all of these positions, we're also working the legs as well, but that's something secondary to the back today. So we're not focusing quite so much on the legs. Again, if you feel like you need to put anything underneath the knees, then please do. But before you try that, then do try sitting up on something first, because it can be related to the position of the hips in relation to the knee. That can be causing that pain. So we're just going to fold down the middle today. And the reason for that is I want you to notice, perhaps you noticed in me, how much further forward for me, in my body, I go when my legs are in this position. So in the first pose, in butterfly, the legs were externally rotated with the feet together. In the second pose, the legs are flexed with the legs straight. And in this one, we're also externally rotated in the hips. But as you can see, as you can feel, as you can experience, those legs are in a different arrangement. The hips are in a different arrangement. So for me, that means that I can fold forward a lot more in this pose than in the other two. So if I'm trying to stimulate the back, stretch the back, this one works better for me personally. Maybe it is for you, or maybe it's one of the others. And just for the last minute or so, again, I want you just to experiment a little bit, moving very, very slightly to one side. Noticing where you feel the stretch in the back now, and also how it changes in the legs, and then go to the other side as well. Perhaps moving the head to a slightly different position too. Changing the stretch in the neck. Perhaps noticing where you have a lot of tension in one particular part, in the back or in the neck. Or both. Okay, so then we're going to come back up to the center. And we're going to go directly to the other side. So just bring the left leg in front of the right. Play with the position of the legs again, if you need to, and then fold forward. And by all means, if after you've folded forward you feel like you need to move the legs some more, then please do. Take your time. Make this pose yours. And it could very well be different on this side. And for this last one, we're going to be here for around 3 minutes. I'm going to be silent for this. So just close your eyes. Keep the body relaxed if you can. And just really allow that stimulation of energy in the urinary bladder meridian down the back, and releasing the spine in a physical sense, releasing that stress and that tension. just take a deep breath in again. Breathe out, allow the body to just relax a little bit more. And again, breathe in. Breathe out and sink. Breathe in. And this time as you breathe out, then just come back up to the center. And we're going to move into the final pose of Shavasana. You choose how you want to do that. You can either lie down on your back in the traditional sense. You can also lie on your front. And you can also sit in whatever way is comfortable and quite neutral for you, something that's a comfortable seated position. And just close your eyes just for the last few minutes. Perhaps bringing your attention to your breath. And just ending with a short meditation. Or just close your eyes and just relax until you hear the bell. So allow yourself to make your way back up to a seated position if you're not seated already. Taking your time to get there. Closing your eyes when you are there and just noticing how you feel. Of course, this session wasn't intended to make you a super confident person in 35 minutes. But the idea is to try and encourage some of these qualities within ourselves, perhaps releasing tension and stress that you might be storing within the body that might be leading you to question yourself and your abilities, but also by trying to encourage that flow of energy, of chi, down the back line of the body. Perhaps releasing any blockages, or also again to try and encourage confidence and trust within ourselves. Bring the arms out to the sides. Bring them up, palms together above your head. Bringing the hands down in front of the face, allowing the thumbs to graze the forehead, the nose, the lips, perhaps the chin, and down in front of the heart. Thank you once more for joining me today. Namaste. If anybody is interested in doing a longer class on this theme, I'll be holding one tomorrow evening. You can also do that one online. So just check my events page. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you don't join me tomorrow, then I hope to see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Bye, everybody. No worries, Andrea. See you.